I'm Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at International City Theater for the opening of Abigail 1702.
Hi, I'm Ashton Marcus with KUCI 88.9 FM. And you're?
Jennifer Cannon. I was born and raised in Gulfport, Mississippi. I've moved 35 times in my life, and I am not a military brat. It was different reasons every time, different schooling and whatnot. I spent a lot of time in Florida, Germany, and I lived in Nottingham, England. I've been on the stage since I was 3, singing since I was 14. So this is the life of an actor, and this is what I do. I play Abigail Williams. She is an imagined character. She was a real person, but Arthur Miller in The Crucible sort of upped her age to the age of 17, which is when the Salem witch hunts of 1692 happened in Salem, Massachusetts. In this play, she's 10 years older, she's about 27, and she's trying to reckon with all of the wrong things she did during the Salem witch trials, which was wrongfully accuse and persecute a lot of people who weren't into witchcraft and that sort of thing. So she's finding her own redemption and seeking sort of inner peace and inner forgiveness for her wrong ways.
I love the play. I love your performance in it also.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's a lot. It's a lot of stage time, so it's a good challenge.
Plus, also, I don't see a whole lot of challenging roles for women as a leading actor. I think this one has a lot of meat in it, a lot of emotional struggles and all that.
It absolutely does. I am still asking around, different people I know in the theater world, what other show is like this for any character, male or female? They literally never leave the stage. I mean, they're there for the whole time. And I often say this role is like an ocean of emotion, if that makes sense, because there's so much ebb and flow in her journey and the emotion and what she's going through. It is an ocean, and you as the actor, you're right in the middle of it, feeling it all of the currents, good and bad.
Also, again, it's not about politics like the original play was. It's actually all about her. It's her struggles.
It's about humanity and those relationships that you have with people. I personally think this show is a show about relationships because it's her relationship with herself, with John Proctor, with Elizabeth Proctor, with the new people she's meeting in her life, even with the devil, take that as a supernatural force or a literal force. It's all about how she relates to these people or how she doesn't relate to these people. So yes, not so heavy on the political side, but even in the midst of politics, it's all about relationships and what you believe and your emotions about that. So humanity is the center of this show, I believe.
Also, I was wondering if you can give my audience a little advice.
I can give the advice of always do the work, even if it is community theater and you don't get paid. It's where I started. I started all my years in community theater. I learned so much, trial by error. I worked with some really great people. And I also like to pass on the advice that I once heard Harrison Ford give in an interview. He said, as an actor, you have to do what works for you. If you want to get another job to support your life, a survival job, a life support job as I call them, that fuels the financial need to be an actor so you can go and do those productions for free, so to speak, do it. If you want to go another path and just live the artist life and not get paid for it, whatever works for you, do not doubt yourself. Be in the second circle, as Patsy Rodenberg, the great acting teacher, said. Be in that second circle, be present, and do what works for you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and you're?
Kevin Daly, how are you? I've just finished doing this wonderful show, Abigail 1702. I am the proud owner of the NoHo Art Center, where we do lots of productions. Before that, early on, before coming to LA, I was in Lion King on Broadway and Annie Gets Your Gun with Bernadette Peters, also in the LA company of Lion King. Lots and lots of national tours, but most happy to be right back here at ICT, which was the first place I worked back when I first came to LA. It was the very first job I had in 1996, I think it was.
And which character did you play?
Called the old man, but one of the great parts that I get to play is the devil.
So what do you think about this play?
I think it's fantastic. I think sequels like this, where people wonder what might have become of the characters from the Crucible, this is a brilliant way to look at that journey, and without giving anything away, there's such a wonderful surprise at the end of the play as to what might seem unimaginable is what happens in this play. It's such a great play about redemption.
Yeah, I actually, The Crucible again was obviously more of a play about about witch hunts and all that, about communism and all that. But I think this is more of a play about closure. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, that's a brilliant way to look at it. It's actually a play that comes full circle with these characters that you somewhat know from The Crucible, but you are certainly going to get to see Abigail in her adult life. But closure is a great word for it. It's what can happen to them if you just know that anything's possible.
But I also think it was a little more optimistic because obviously the older one was more edgy. It left you hanging there. You'll never forget that. In all honesty, I think the older one was better. What do you think?
Well, it's hard to mess with Arthur Miller. He's one of the greatest American playwrights that we have. So I won't give up whether I think one is better than the other. It would be too easy to say Arthur Miller, being the great Arthur Miller, has written a more significant play. This play is a more human relation play, where the other play, obviously based on politics, has more to say in that regard. This is much more of a character-driven play between two people and that road to redemption. So it just takes a different path, I think.
Also, a lot of people in community theater listen to my show. What kind of advice can you give them to help them with their career?
Keep at it, keep taking classes, audition for absolutely everything. I did that in the early part of my career. I never let any job go by whatsoever. If somebody said, hey, do you want to come and do this? I did it. If I was free, I did it. If you want to say that you're an actor, then find a way to act. Make a project up, do something. That will just motivate you to keep going and not then let anyone on the outside saying, well, you're really not acting. You can always find a project to act in.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and you're?
I am Ross Hellwig. Well, I'm an actor. I live in North Hollywood right now. Grew up in Arizona. Lived in New York for a few years. Went to grad school down in San Diego at the Old Globe, and now I live in LA, and I'm down here doing the show at ICT. I play what is called in the script the young man. He goes by John Brown, is his name in the play. He's a young man who is a sailor. He left home, left sort of what seems to be a possibly abusive relationship at home to become a sailor, and he has shown up here in this play at a pox house to be treated because he believes he has smallpox. And I don't want to tell you too much because he's a man with secrets that kind of come out during the show. So, but that's the basics.
So, what do you think about this play?
Oh, it's great. I've had a wonderful time working on it. It's a lot of fun to work on something related to a play that I've known forever and have loved forever. Arthur Miller's The Crucible. And now to be able to work on something that is a spin-off on that is it's really interesting and a lot of fun to do.
Actually, it seems more like Abigail's play. She seems to have most of the character struggles and all that. Do you feel that it was challenging enough for you? Because you seem more like her guy, just her guy. That's your character.
No, yeah, that's a good point. But what's interesting is I think both of the characters, even though she has the lion's share of the lines and has the huge journey that she goes on, there's sort of a parallel journey in the way that the playwright has structured the play that John Brown is kind of going through also, which and they both kind of reveal to each other over the course of the two acts, what's happening with them and how they're changing and dealing with their pasts, their presents, but possible futures, that sort of thing. So there's plenty to hook in there and explore as an actor working on this character.
I deal with a lot of community theater actors. Listen to my any kind of advice you can give them to help along with their career. What would you give yourself?
I would stay fresh, keep doing it. And any opportunity that you can get to get on stage and act is well worth taking, and because that's nothing against class and education. That's all wonderful, and I'm a big fan of all that. Like I said, I went through, got the MFA and everything like that, but there's no teacher like experience on stage as well, and so good for them for doing for doing community theater and getting on stage and exploring the art.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and you're?
I am Michelle Holm. I'm an actor and a singer and a songwriter, and I just opened in Abigail 1702 at International City Theatre. I play 3 characters, and I do a lot of musical theater as well. I work a lot at Doma Theater Company in Hollywood. I went to Northwestern University, got my MFA at UCLA, all in theater and acting, and I just love it.
Okay, so what's your opinion about the show?
Oh, I love the show. I think it's fantastic. I think it's such a great show to have chosen to do a sequel, because you do wonder what happened to Abigail. And she destroyed so many lives. And really the scene where she comes back, particularly with Elizabeth Proctor, to make amends is such a charged scene. I love the play. I think it was a brilliant idea, and I think everybody in the cast is not only incredibly talented, but incredibly nice. And that really makes it.
Okay, and also, what's your opinion about the women roles in theater nowadays?
Women's roles, not enough of them, and not enough of them for women over 40. But I think it's getting better. It's still, it's always a struggle. TV, film, theater, but theater is better. Theater, I would say, that's why I do so much of it, because there are. I have found. I work basically nonstop. I go from show to show to show to show to show, because there are in theater many more stronger roles for women over 40. So I love the theater. What can I say?
Particularly about this play, I really liked the fact that it had a strong woman character, and she actually did a lot of character development in it. What's your thoughts on that?
Abigail, she had such a journey. Think of where, if you know the Crucible, think of where she came from. And then for her to have 10 years later, and it really took guts for her to face the devil, to make amends with Elizabeth. I'd have been, if I was her, I'd have been scared, to pieces to even look at Elizabeth again. So, and she does an amazing job, and she has to go back, relive stuff. You don't want to relive stuff. It's like when she comes to visit Elizabeth doesn't want to see her again. And she really atones, and I think at the end she's forgiven because she doesn't expect to be forgiven. She's not asked, she's expecting to go off with the devil, and instead she's truly sorry. She's not just trying to, and that's why I think she is forgiven, but her journey is huge, and she did a mammoth job with this play. I'm so proud of Jennifer Cannon, who played Abigail. She's amazing.
Okay, a little bit about my show. I actually cover the bottom portion of theater, so I do a lot of community theater, a lot of non-equity, some activity like this, and a lot of my viewers are community theater actors. They have been working for 15 years. Mm-hmm. They get paid nothing, and they're like, they just love the stuff, and they just keep doing it. What kind of advice can you give them?
I think you just have to do it if you love it. For me, I was lucky. I got my union card when I was in college, but I knew I wanted to make it my profession, and I do, make money, but everybody has a different path. If you want to have a family and kids, and it doesn't work out for you that way, union card, no union card. There are some of the greatest actors I've met aren't necessarily union. It's a mix. I think if you want to do something, do it. If some opportunity comes your way and suddenly you find yourself in the union and you are making some money, great. But don't let that ever stop you. It's really, for me, it's particularly theater. It just isn't about the money. It's about the work. And I don't like to take jobs myself that aren't great pieces. And that's what I would say to anybody who does theater, community or otherwise. Like your part and like the show, and that'll make it all worthwhile for you.
How about the relationship with your husband? Suppose your husband says, you spend so much time working. It's night, the weekends. Why don't you have time for me?
Well, he would never do that. And he's a musician, and he's a very talented guitarist. Steve Pinkney is my husband's name, who's standing right over here. He would never do that because he knows that this is my soul, my life. We didn't come into this marriage with him not understanding that. We both have our things that we do, and he understands, so he would just never do that. It wouldn't happen.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and you're?
Jace Febo. Well, I started doing community theater when I was 4 years old. I did Mary Poppins just recently. Les Mis, a professional production of Les Mis with Theatre Royale, and it was pretty cool. And so that's been my history with theater. I played Thomas. Thomas is he's an orphan boy. He lives in a Sabbath house in Old South. He's taken care of by Ruth.
Okay, so you're actually very young. When did you start acting?
I started acting when I was 4, which was in community theater, but I just recently started doing actual commercials and stuff like that when about a year ago.
What kind of toll does that put on your life? Because I remember once I interviewed an actor, and he says he couldn't remember basically when he wasn't an actor because it was almost like he was born an actor. Do you think you were just born to do this?
I think I was born to do this because whenever I was young, I loved singing. I just loved singing and I loved acting. When I was about 2 years old, I started singing.
Are your parents very supportive of you?
Yes, they are very supportive. Actually, we live in Lake Elsinore. My mom drives me out here every single time I have an audition, so I think they're very supportive of this.
Yeah, I'm also very interested in raising child actors because, in a sense, there's been a lot of problems with child actors. You see some of the child actors in Different Strokes and all that. Do you feel that there may be a little bit of apprehension in leading a lifestyle like that?
Well, there is a little bit of it can get hard because with some child actors they need to play and stuff like that, so it's hard for them to always go to commercials because it gets a little bit tiring, but you get used to it after a while.
So what kind of things that your parents do that you really think is helping you out in your career?
Well, first they drive me out there every single day. My mom's very supportive of this because she's with me every single time. She helps me get dressed, she helps me get undressed, and they always send me flowers and stuff like that. So I feel like I love my parents. I feel like they're very supportive of this.
Oh, that's very good to hear that you're so close to your parents, because I hear some people get a little distance from them.
Yeah, some people do get a little distance from them because my sister, she doesn't really talk to my parents anymore. She just stays in her room all the time, so I think that happens a lot, very often with people.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Ashley Marcus with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and you're?
Karen Desai. I am the artistic director and producer and the director of Abigail 1706. It's imagined sequel to Arthur Miller's The Crucible, and it's Abigail 10 years later, and it's really her journey and search for redemption.
So why did you choose to do this play?
Well, I read it and loved it, and I was intrigued by the writer's imagination to create such a piece and have such an idea about following Abigail after The Crucible. And it was such an opportunity to do something that's not actual realism on stage and use your imagination and create this environment, this psychological thriller. It was a pleasurable journey.
A lot of my viewers are actually actors. What kind of advice can you give them to help them along?
Well, I mean, if they like doing it and they're doing it as a hobby, on the side, and they're happy doing that, do it. It's a hard profession. We're an equity company, but these are people who have chosen to do it as a career, and it's challenging. You're always looking for a job. But if it's in your blood and you love it and there's nothing else you want to do, money's not so important because you can't take it with you. But being happy every day, waking up and doing something you love, that's priceless.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
You're so welcome. Thank you for your interest in theater. Great.
Abigail 1702 will be playing at International City Theater from April 29th to May 24th. For more information, go to ictlongbeach.org or search for AMB Theater on Facebook.